Hey guys, welcome back. So today we're going to continue with the freeCodeCamp curriculum. In the last video we finished with the basic JavaScript, so today we're going to continue with ES6 challenges. So ES6 is short for ECMAScript version 6, which was released in 2015 and it's a standard of JavaScript. Okay, we are going to do the exercises, so let's go to it. In the first lesson, we're going to explore the difference between var and let keywords. Okay, so in the first exercise, we're going to learn that when you declare a variable with var, you can override that variable right in that code block. Okay, but if you declare it with a let keyword, so you can do the same, you can declare a variable with let, then something like this would, let me scroll it up. So something like this would throw an error because you're not allowed to override this variable. Okay, so let's take things step by step. So in this exercise, we just need to update the code so that it only uses the let keyword. Okay, so instead of var, let's do let. And we don't have any other variable. Oh, okay. Now, let's see. We need to compare the scopes of the var and the let keywords. Okay, so when you declare a variable with var, it is declared globally, or locally if it's declared inside a function. But the let keywords, it behaves similarly, but it has some extra features. So when you declare with let, inside the block statements or expression, its scope is limited to that block. Okay, so here is an example so that we understand better. So here we have this var I declaration, which means that I is declared globally. So when I++ it is executed, it updates the global variable. Okay, so this code here, if you declare it with var, is the same as this one if you declare I before starting the loop. And even outside the loop, you can get the updated I. But this may cause problems. That's why it's better to use the let keyword in the strict mode. So if you use the let keyword here, okay, now you can see that we define I only inside this block, which is the loop, the for loop. And that means that outside of this for loop, we cannot access the I. So if you try to console log I here, it returns I is not defined because I's scope is only this block of code, this for loop. Okay, now we need to fix this code so that I is declared in the if statement is a separate variable than the I declared in the first line of the function. Okay, so we have here an I variable which is declared with var, and in this case so this is the function scope. Now we want this I to be separate from the I variable in the first line of the function. So the best thing we can do here is declare this with let. Okay, and you'll see that this console log will print the block scope. Let's see, let's call this just for you to see. Okay, as you can see, block scope is block scope I is block scope. It has the value inside the loop here, and function scope I is function scope. Okay, it is printed by this one. So we didn't change this I, because if we didn't put this let here, let's see. Yeah, Yes, so if we did something like this, or if we didn't put a var, you see that we always get block scope, even in the function scope, even in the block scope. But if you declare it with let, then this I here is different from this I here. Okay, so let's run the tests. We need to remove. Okay, so okay, perfect. So let's go to the next one. Now we need to declare a read-only variable with a const keyword. Okay, so we can also use const instead of let. So it has all the features of let, with the bonus that the variable declared using const is read-only. So usually they are for constant values, which means that once a variable is assigned with const, it cannot be reassigned. Okay, so we cannot reassign it, like for example this one throws an error. Now we need to change the variables that are declared using let or okay, so we need to change all the vars and make them let or const. Okay, when we want a variable to change, we need to use let, and const where the variable needs to remain constant. Okay, so let's see. We have this sentence here. So this sentence is going to change. So let's use let here. Oh, no, actually this one inside will be a constant because it will be a sentence. Yes, so it will be the same sentence. But for this one, we need to use let. Let's run this. Sentence. Okay, so we need to use const variables in all caps. Sentence like this. And let's leave it like this. Okay, perfect. Ask me later. So now we need to mutate an array declared with const. Okay, so we said that we can use const for constant variables, but they only prevent reassignment. Okay, so let's see a case where const in this case is an array. So if you try to reassign it to another array, then it will throw an error, but you can mutate that array. So you would change the element with index 2. Okay. For our exercise, we have a const array. We need to change the array. We need to change the array to 257. Okay, but without using element assignment. Let's see. So let's do this the long way. So S0 needs to become 2, and S2. Of course, there we can reverse it, but I don't think we have learned about that yet. So we need 257. So we put at S1 we need to put 5, and at S2 we need to put 7. Okay, so we are not reassigning it, but we are mutating this array. Okay, changing the elements at each index. Let's run this. Okay, perfect. Now when we want to prevent object mutation. Okay, so we can use, for this you can use object freeze. Okay, if the object is frozen, you can no longer add, update, or delete properties from it. Okay, let's see how we can do this. So here is the case of an object, and you can use the method .freeze, object.freeze, and apply it to the object. Okay, so we need to prevent the mathematical constants from changing, so we need to freeze the math constants object so that no one is able to alter the value of pi, add or delete properties. Okay, so this is pretty easy, so we just do object.freeze, and I'm going to put math constant. Let's put it in here. So let's run. This is all we need to do, I think. So let's try this. Okay, great. Now, using arrow functions to write concise anonymous functions. Okay, so since in JavaScript sometimes you don't need to name a function, especially when you are passing that function as an argument to another function, then we can create inline functions. Okay, this is similar to lambda expressions in Python. So we have some syntactic sugar to do this. We can declare a function. So we can declare a function something like this. Okay. If there is no function body, we can just do it like this for short, just the value we want to return. Okay, sounds good. We need to rewrite this function so that the function assigned to the variable magic, which returns a new date. Okay, let's do this. So we're going to use this notation. So this is going to be const magic is going to be the variable where we store the function, and we don't need the name here, and we just need to return a new date. So let's do something like this. Okay, the fat arrow function. Okay, so here is the variable where we store the function. Here we have the parameters and what we need to return. Okay, it's good. Okay, now we will write arrow functions with parameters. Okay, looks very straightforward. You just put the parameters in here and the return value right here. So we need to rewrite the myConcat function, which appends the contents of array2 to array1 so that the function uses arrow function syntax. Okay, let's remove this. And we use the fat arrow. And we don't need the return. Let's just leave it like this. Let's move it a little bit like this. Okay, so this one equals. Okay, so this one should do it. Yep. Let's see. Of course, we need to declare it as a const. Okay. Okay, great. Now we're going to set default parameters for functions. Okay. So this is pretty easy. In the parameters inside the parentheses, we just leave the default value with an equals. Okay, so we need to modify the function increment by adding default parameters to that so that it will add 1 to number if value is not specified. We just put the default value like this for value and it will be 1. Let's run this. Okay, great. So now about the rest parameter. Okay, so the rest parameter is a way uh, to create functions which take an unknown number of so you don't have to define, or it will, the number of parameters of arguments that function takes, it will be always changing, so you can give a variable number of arguments. Okay, and all these arguments are stored in an array that can be accessed later on from the inside the function. So for example, this function has a variable number of arguments, and these arguments are stored in an array called args, and you can access it inside the function. Okay, so let's see. We need to modify the function sum using the rest parameter in such a way that the function sum is able to take any number of arguments and return their sum. Okay, so let's use the rest parameter like this, and now we are going to, so we don't need to do this part here. And now all the arguments are in this array, and over this we're going to apply reduce. We'll learn later about this, which is going to make the sum. Okay, let's run this. Okay, perfect. So the spread operator, let's see. So we need the spread operator to evaluate arrays in place. So what exactly does that mean? In this case, we can use apply to compute the maximum value in an array. Okay, so we use math.max, a math function, apply, and we're going to apply it to an array. Okay, and okay, so if you remember, the dot 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 array returns the unpacked array of arguments. So it spreads. So the just array right here, it gives us the array of the argument. But if we put the 3 dots, then it will unpack it. It will spread the array. Okay, so this is the spread operator. Now we have we need to copy all the contents of array 1 into another array R2 using the spread operator. We have this array here, and we need to copy. So what we can do here is inside the brackets we can take all the elements of R1 but spread, and the way we can spread them is using the 3 dots. Okay, so in this case we're just making a copy of R1, and you can see what is getting printed here. Just spread the elements of R1. Okay, perfect. Let's go to the next one. Now, okay, now we're going to learn about destructuring assignment. So this destructuring assignment is needed to extract values directly from objects. Okay, so if we have this object here, user, with a name and age, the way we can access the name, we can do something like this with a dot notation, but to save us from writing all too many lines of code for each property that this object has, we can write something like this. This is just syntactic sugar again. So we can access the name and age from this user object defined here, doing something like this. So this allows us to destructure this object, and now we will have name inside the variable name stored John Doe and in the variable age 34. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to replace the to assignment with an equivalent destructuring assignment. Okay, so it will assign today and tomorrow to the values today and tomorrow from the height, temperature. Okay, so what we can do here is const and use the destructuring today, tomorrow. This is going to be equal to high temperatures. So of course inside today we will store 77 and inside tomorrow we will store 80. So we don't have to give them, we're not forced to give a yesterday as well to destructure it. We can just give the variable that we want. Let's run this. Okay. Now we can also assign variables. So we can use destructuring assignments to assign variables from objects. Okay. So we can assign a new variable name. If we have this user with name and age, then we can do something like rename this property from name to username and from age to user age. We can do it like this. Okay, this one is the thing. We need to so in this case we have something that we are doing using the dot notation, but we need to use the destructuring assignment. So this today needs to be renamed as hi today, and this tomorrow needs to be renamed as hi tomorrow. So we can do that using this syntax. Okay, let's do it here. And today will be hi today, and tomorrow will be hi tomorrow. This is going to be equal to high temperatures. Okay, let's run this. Okay, great. Let's continue. So we now need to use the destructuring to assign variables from nested objects. Okay, so when we have something like this, so we have an object user and inside we have an object John Doe. If we want to extract the values of object properties and assign them to variables with the same name, and we can do it like this. So we can again use the nesting. So let's try the exercise. We need to replace the two assignments here with an equivalent destructuring assignments. Okay, it would still assign the variables low today and high today to values today.low and today.high from the local forecast object. So we can do it using this syntax right here. Const, and then we have here okay, so right here we have today, and inside we can put today as high today. Let's start with low. So we have today, and then low will be low today, and high will be high today. and this will be equal to local forecast. This should do it. Okay, wait just a second. So we have today. Low today. Yep, it was just a typo. Okay, great. So now we will assign variables from arrays. We can use this. So here we explain the difference between the spread operator and array destructuring. So the spread operators unpacks all the contents of an array into a comma-separated list. You cannot pick or choose which elements you want to assign to variables. Destructuring an array lets us do exactly that. So you can pick which elements you want to assign to variables. Okay, so if we do something like this, so we are destructuring this array and we are assigning to A the value 1 and to B the number 2. Okay, and then if we want, for example, something like if we want to assign to A number 1, B number 2, and C number 5, we just put commas right here, the number of commas for the elements we want to skip. Okay, see, so in this case we're skipping 3 and 4 by using 2 commas right here. So we need to swap the values of A and B so that A receives the value stored in B and B receives the value stored in A. So this will be const AB, and we are using this to destructure the EA. Let's try this. Wait. A receives value stored in B. Okay. Let's do it like this. And this. This one should work, I'm not sure, but let's try this. Okay. Oh, that's all we needed to do. Okay, now we are using the structuring assignment with the rest parameter to reassign an array's elements. Okay, so we might want to collect the rest of. Okay, so in this case, if we have this array and we want A and B and then the rest to be collected in another array, we can use the rest parameter. Okay, so we are going to use the destructuring assignments with the rest parameter to perform an effective array prototype slice so that array is R is a subarray of the original array source with the first 2 elements omitted. Okay, so we want array to be a subarray of the original one. So we need to remove the first 2 elements from the list. Okay. So constant of, we can do it like this. So let's try this. So const we can use, maybe this should work. Two commas just to represent the two elements we want to omit. And let's run this. Okay, that does it. So now we're going to use the destructuring assignment to pass an object as a function's parameter. Okay. Okay. We can destructure the object in a function argument. We have this code right here. So we have a one-line function which takes profile data and just destructures this profile data object. Okay. But we can do this in place, like this. So we can give an object to this function as an argument which has these properties, and we destructure them, destructure that object in place. Okay, so we need to use this destructuring assignment with argument to the function half. Okay, to only send max and min inside the function. So stats has all these properties, but we need to send only max and min. Stats.max. Okay, let's destructure it in place. We can do it like this and just use max and min. And inside we can do max and min. This one should do it. Let's run this. That's great. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at this one for today. So in the next video we will continue with ES6. Thank you for watching once again. Don't forget to try to solve this on your own and then come to this video if you need some help. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share this video if you want to support me and my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.